You know what time it is. 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 Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you today. Well, it's a relationship phone in, and it means you guys get to come in and send us either an email, a dilemma, or if you're fancy it, come on live as well with us and give us your dilemmas so we can talk about it and see how best we can help you. It's free. It won't be after this. So, for anybody else watching this, if you're new, please like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. For those of you returnees, you already know what it is. You got the minerals. But I am not here alone today. I am joined by two fabulous guests, and we'll have a third coming through a little bit later on. But I'm joined by This Marriage UK and Inner Transitions. You've seen them before. You've heard them before. But it's always nice when we get to hear them once again. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Starting from This Is Marriage UK.
Lyrics, man.
If you can, you know, bro, I'm not going to lie to you. When I was starting, I think so, I'm going to mess up.
Flow, man. It flow good.
Introduce yourself, Captain.
Yeah, This Is Marriage UK. We have conversations around relationships, whether you're married, single, or divorced. We help you navigate that journey. And if you are looking for any kind of relationship guidance, we do that too. And I'm handing you over to Kelly.
I am Kelly Broderick. I am an integrative therapist that works with individuals and couples, working with people online. And you can find me on Instagram at Inner Transitions.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Love it. Okay, so today's conversation, you know, we always like to start off with a topic, show you guys maybe a video or two, get the conversation flowing, get people coming in. You know, I know people will come in a little bit later, and then go into the kind of dilemmas. I've got some dilemmas as well. Some people sent me their dilemmas, so we'll discuss one or two of those as well. But we've got a video I wanted to show you. I think which one you want to do first? You want to do the TikTok one first? That's the deep one, actually.
Do you find it deep? Okay, let's go.
What? Unless I've got the wrong video, bro.
No. What is it with the yes, sir, yes, the yes one? Which one was it? I don't remember.
Sir. Go for it. Let me private message you. That's not what the one. That's not the one on there. That's not the one you showed me, kids.
Bro, which one did I send you?
Wrong link.
Let me see what I got. Let me see what I gave you. Oh, hold on. I thought I might have it. Hold on. Stay there. I've got it. Oh, yeah. Okay, go for it.
Is that the right video?
Go for it.
Wait. I'm putting it in the chat. Is that the right video?
Come on. That's the one.
That's the one. Okay, so let me.
I sent you that one actually, but yeah.
Wow.
Let's
listen.
You see?
I put every. It's not every, but I just wanted to put that in there. Well, so let me before we go into the conversation, listen, because I have to make sure it was the right video. So I'm going to put out a trigger warning. This is a heavy topic. Yeah. Okay. So I want to put a trigger warning. This is going to be about abuse. Specifically child abuse. So I want you, I just want to put a trigger warning. Anybody who's watching this, joining us, I'll put it across the screen as well as it's rolling.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So that when you do come in, if you're new to this conversation, you're very much aware. So we're going to talk about something really, really important. So please, if anybody's triggered, take some time out. You know what I'm saying? If you need to turn us off, that's understandable. But I want to give that prior warning ahead of time. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna bring the video up on the screen. That's the wrong link I put there, but let me put the right one. That'll be helpful. Let's go. Yes. Oh, pause. Okay, fantastic. Here we go. Chile. Okay. So, like I said, guys, it's a very heavy topic. So, trigger warning. I'm going to put.
Do you need to put a banner up?
We'll put a banner up for them as well, so that we can get it. Let me just do this.
Kelly, you and I have spoken about this a while back. You know.
Was it a while back? Okay.
It's tight. This one is a tough one, you know. It's a tough one. Trigger warning.
Hey, D'Souza, how you doing? You have a question for us, D'Souza?
So okay, I've just put trigger warning talking about child abuse, so we gotta put that in there so people know. Okay, I'll let it roll across the screen so they can see it as well. All right, cool. All right. Okay, let me even put this in families. Okay. All right, cool. So let's put this video up now. Like I said, trigger warning, guys, please. It's a very deep topic. But I'm gonna play it. Hopefully you guys can hear it as well. If you can't, let me know and I'll change it.
So vast that I actually married a pedophile.
Oh.
An opinion you have that might piss some people off.
That pedophiles are literally everywhere. I believe there's some in every family. I believe there's some that teach your child. I believe there's some at church. I believe the chances of you marrying one are so vast that I actually married a pedophile.
An opinion you have that might piss some people off.
I don't know if you guys heard that. Did you hear it?
I think it is. Play it again. Play it again, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. You could hear it, right? Okay. Oh, it's not. That's not the one.
That pedophiles are literally everywhere. I believe there's some in every family. I believe there's some that teach your child. I believe there's some at church. I believe the chances of you marrying one are so vast that I actually married a pedophile.
An opinion you have that might piss some people off.
I had to pass this one out because before I'm not going to comment on the video. I'm going to hand it to Kojo first, right? But I had to put this one out there. I'm glad because I'm looking for a space to put it out there, because I think that it needs more attention, and we're in a dilemma because we don't know what to do about it. But it's something that I have witnessed on multiple occasions. But Kojo, you said you wanted to talk about this one.
Whoa.
It's heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy.
Shall I go first?
Go for it, Cap.
All right. I agree with this woman. I think that pedophiles are everywhere. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what the religious position that you hold, the position in government, church, school, family member, you cannot see pedophiles very clearly with the naked eye.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, they are everywhere. What does that mean? That's a question to you. That's a question to the audience. What does that mean? You know, and this lady was right. What does it mean if we, with that notion, they're everywhere? What does that mean?
I guess just thinking about it is it's you have to be on guard all the time because you just don't know who is who. So obviously what's been happening now, when you think of the media and what's been going on, you know, now is that there's been a lot of, you know, litigation cases where there's a lot of historical kind of child abuse that's being investigated, you know, where people in positions of trust, church, children's homes, foster care, you know, all kinds of, you know, establishments, like boarding schools, you know, and even within the government, you know, there's so much going on. There's so much coming through, you know, to the surface now, you know, and I just think that we know more now than we did then. You know, I think, you know, there was definitely this idea of just trusting, you know, adults and thinking, you know, the best of them, you know, even when you think of, you know, when I think of the Caribbean experience, you know, there was a lot of paedophilia that went on, you know, especially when parents were leaving their children behind to come to the UK. You know, a lot. There's a lot that's gone on. So I think what that then just does, it just magnifies the importance of really, really keeping a very close eye on your children, yourself, because you just don't know what people's intentions are. You don't know what you know, what experiences that they've been through, because often abusers have been abused.
By the way, just before you say any more, your earring is knocking on the mic.
Sorry, let me take it off.
Yes.
Let me take him off.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of you know, abusers have been abused. So it's a cycle, isn't it? It's patterns. You know, if you think, you know, if that's been done to you as a child, you know, you normalize it and think that's normal. So then you grow up, you know, some people grow up to thinking that that's the way how you engage with people, you know, through force and violence. But the issue is that, you know, who can you trust? And the reality is, in, you know, I've got two girls. Nobody. I trust nobody. You know, they're with me all the time. You know, there's very, very, very few people who can look after them. You know, so, you know, I think of when we were growing up. Oh, you know, we want to do a sleepover. We want to go to our friends' sleep. Where my mom never allowed us to sleep over at anybody's home. You don't know who's got access to that property, and this is the reality. And these are the things, you know, the opportunities that unfortunately abusers may use kind of those opportunities where they are able to have access to children quite easily.
Yep.
And it's a problem. It's a problem. So yeah. And often, you know, the people that have experienced that kind of historical sexual abuse are the people that come into my counseling room. So yeah, it's not good.
Coach?
It's tight, really, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you know, this situation, I think I'm trying to look at ways to prevent, or at least try to minimize, you know, possibilities of this happening. And you know, yeah, and the sad thing is now is the stuff that we were doing in the 90s, you can't do it now. And it's I don't know if I can't say that pedophilia has increased. I can only say that I think our awareness has increased, right? Yeah, my parents didn't let us go to any sleepovers. I don't think it was because of that. I just think because they didn't want us. So spiritually, we don't know you mix it with who you mix it with.
Right.
But you know, yeah, stuff like that. I think also as well. You know, we used to go out and play. You know, we'll go out and play and spend hours playing. I would come back. I'll go out maybe, you know, on a Saturday, leave at like 10 in the morning, come back before the lights come back on. You know what I mean? Like now, parents can't necessarily do that because we're very aware now that anything can happen in those moments. And you'd be blamed as a parent for being negligent if that was to be your child. So a lot of things have changed in a span of a decade or more, even 20 years or so. It's so much more different. And like you said, I mean, who can you trust? Well, no one. You even can't trust your partner at some points. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, you almost can't even trust your partner to be able to be safe. And that is why, you know, it's important. I feel like I will be teaching my children about this. I can't remember what it was called, but they were teaching your children that, like, if anyone touches you in certain areas, you know, you have let me know, kind of thing, right? And they teach a child this. There was a thing I saw, a course where they teach a child this, so that if anybody who touches them in certain areas, the child is able to let you know someone touched me here. Now the child might not realize what's happened to them, but at least they can tell you this, that, and then you can be able to be aware. Because the difficulty with this is, you know, people who are abusive in this area, who are pedophiles, they are coaxing, conditioning, they are drawing these children in and grooming these children into situations, and it becomes very difficult. I think just because I'm dealing with clients, I think what I've noticed especially if, I think the interference really does change a child. So as a parent, I have to be really aware that if I see any change in that child, I've got to be like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like it may just be the child had a bad day or whatever, but still, I've now got to be hyper vigilant that there's been a complete change of that child's demeanor, whether they're more angry, whether they've more isolated, whether they start talking. There is some level of change when someone interferes on a child's life in that particular manner. That if I'm not, if I'm so consumed with life, like just it was so funny because I was coming back from Northampton the other day, and I saw two parents and they had their kids with them, right? And one kid was in a pram, the other little kid was walking by them, and the whole entire time, both of them were on their phones. And I was like, I know we're a new generation in that, but I'm thinking about if I'm a thief and I want to kidnap someone, you're the one I'm going for, right? You've walked all the way from here to there, the whole entire time you've walked, but your eyes have been on your phone. And I thought to myself, okay, that's an indication of just maybe a moment, but maybe that's how we are as people sometimes. We're just so engrossed with our life. I don't actually pay attention to what happens to you. And so I won't notice the changes in you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think for me, from watching that, I think for me, my biggest thing is that as a parent, I've got to know my child. I've got to spend time with my child. I've got to be aware of my characteristics of each individual child so that when I see change, I'm not going to be like, well, they're just growing. They're just growing. They need their space. I can actually be proactive and stuff. So, yeah, it's tough, though. Like I said, nothing's foolproof here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Man, there's a few things I want to say because I'm getting a bit hot under the collar with this topic, man.
I understand, bro. I understand.
Kelly, like you, I got two daughters. I got a son. I have to look out for him too in the same way.
Yeah.
But one thing that we from the earliest stage we were about was not letting our kids. I'm speaking a lot to black churches. I don't know why, but I just am. Not letting our kids sit on people's laps. That was like a no-no. Do you know what I mean? The thing is, Uncle so-and-so, people of high regard. And I think especially in religious institutions, it's very easy to hide. If you can speak a certain way, if you can articulate scriptures and pray a certain way, you can hide very well.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, what that lady said in the video, they are everywhere. It really, for me, says they are closer than we think.
And this is where it's frightening. It's interesting you say that, Curtis, because even at church, I wouldn't even let my kids go off to Sabbath school. I wouldn't allow them to go.
Or Sunday school,
or Sunday school. They're not going. They're right by me because I don't know who has access. Because people will come in and out of the rooms and stuff like that. That's the way how church runs sometimes. No, right by me, so I can.
I don't think there is a church in this country that has not been affected by that in some shape. There's no church that doesn't have a pedophile in it. I don't think. I just don't believe it. And this is something that bugs me as well, is that churches will try to manage it in-house, which don't. And I've seen with my own eyes over decades where that creates a stronger environment for it to keep happening. I think it's important, guys. And this is a trigger warning, but this is a triggering topic, but it's an educational one that a lot of us probably go church who will watch this show. Look out for your children. What was this comment? I remember at a family cookout, my granny said she better not catch me hugging or sitting on my Uncle Johnny's lap. She said his name on his lap. I was 7. With age, I became aware and found out things he did to my other cousin.
See, here's where it becomes really difficult. Thank you, Dominic, for sharing that. Here's where it becomes difficult. because my thing is why is Uncle Johnny coming to the family cookout, right? What is he doing there if there's so much picnic running up and down the place? Yeah.
Right.
The kids are running up and down the place. The kids are able to be free, and they should be free to, and feel safe. Why is it that he's there? Also, why has nobody called him out? Why has nobody said, listen, this is what Uncle Johnny, you know what I mean? Ay.
I'm telling you. There's a lot of comments here. Guys, you need to flow these comments because
why is Uncle Johnny not in prison? Yes. Sorry. I'm sorry, Dominic, but I think this is where it becomes really important to start calling these things out and people being held to account, you know what I mean? For what it is that it's not right. And children don't have the ability to protect themselves in the way how we maybe would be able to protect ourselves. And even then, sometimes it's questionable in terms of what we're able to do to protect ourselves as well. So children, even less so. So, we are responsible for, kind of protecting, having that, that level of protection around the children. Uncle Johnny should never have been there. Uncle Johnny should be serving time and having psychotherapy, psychoanalytical sessions, you know what I mean, weekly for the next 50 years of his life.
This follows on from your point from Tia Smith, Tia Maria. The saddest thing is that all too often, even when adults know that children are being abused, they still don't protect them.
Yeah.
Captain Ed. Eddie. Are you muted?
Am I muted?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
I am. No, I am.
No. We're talking, you see the trigger warning there. You didn't see the video. Should we play it? I don't know. Is it all right to play it again? What do you think? Yeah, let's play it again.
That pedophiles are literally everywhere. I believe there's some in every family. I believe there's some that teach your child. I believe there's some at church. I believe the chances of you marrying one are so vast that I actually married a pedophile.
An opinion you have that might piss some people off.
That pedophiles are literally everywhere. I believe there's some in every family. I believe there's some that teach your child. I believe there's some at church. I believe the chances of you marrying one are so vast that I actually married a pedophile.
Oh, man. Yeah. Straight in the deep end, man.
I think pedophilia is a sickness so specific that I'd hate to think that it's everywhere. I'm not saying that people can't be socialized into it through, a really distorted view of sex through pornography. But to say that pedophiles are maybe it's just the denialism in me that doesn't want maybe it's just the denialism in me that doesn't want to, you know what I mean?
It is definitely that, man.
Yeah,
because it's hard to accept.
I have to take out my spiritual machete and start walking with it, just in case they pop up somewhere.
Let me read something to you guys, all right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a report in 2020. It's about 15 months ago. This is in the UK, guys. So for those of you in the US, we have about 70 odd million people here, roughly. Up to 450 pedophiles are arrested every month in the UK as the internet drives the explosion of child sex abuse. And that's at least since 2016, that has been the case. And again, another report, I don't know what, 2 years, just over 2 years old. This is interesting. the estimates of how many pedophiles we have in the country was at 20,000, right? Doesn't make sense to me at this point. And now through more research, they have doubled the number to 40. So there's more.
But those are the people that they know. So think about the ones that they don't know. Do you know what I mean? The mind boggles.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it. Protecting our children. This is crazy. I guess we've all worked with someone in some capacity that is a victim of this. And my thing is, the reason why I threw this video up was to just get everyone to look at their children, look at their nieces, look at their nephews, look at their environments, and learn how to protect themselves. I don't know if we have all the answers here, but it's important that everyone just kind of open their eyes a little bit wider. The problem is rife. And if you've got Snapchat, if you've got Instagram, we're working with these kids. If you're working with young people, or especially now, they are under such attack every day.
But remember, kids are having to do that in an adult world. And it's the adults that we have to make responsible for that. It's an adult that, kids are doing that in an adult world. Last night I was doing some DEI work with a company, and showed the video of the doll test, where they put a black doll and a white doll in front of a kid, and people are saying, well, where are the children learning this from? Like, children are learning it from an adult world. Children aren't born knowing that black is bad or black is ugly. Children pick up them clues from the adult world in which they grow, but they pick it up from an early age. And kids within this world, kids are experiencing this distorted view of their of sex and abuse, and they are actually experiencing that in an adult world. And that's where we have to begin. The beginning has to be with re-educated, protecting the kids, definitely, and making the kids aware. But the kids cannot be walking around. There used to be this old comedy called Dad's Army, which was about, and you remember Dad's Army? Remember at the beginning, they used to have that one who used to walk around like that, because he was shell-shocked from the First World War. And he's walking with his, and we can't have our kids going through life like this.
Yeah, that's right. That is right.
Their innocency will be lost, but we have to make them realistic. We have to keep it real about where they find themselves now, so that they can be realistic about tomorrow. But it's the adults that we have to hold responsible at every turn. It's the adults that we have to hold responsible.
Word. Boy, I think we can leave off that this lean off this topic, because it's heavy.
Let me throw a spanner in the works then. When will we then, as a church or Christian community, start educating children on sex?
You have to start from the door, from their little, from their toddlers, learning about their body parts, because that's what they do. We have to teach a healthy sense of self, because I think the problem is what's also contributed, maybe there's this thing around body shaming and shame of sex, which is something that many of us have grown up. You think I could mention sex in front of my parents? That was just an absolute taboo. In a Jamaican house, you're crazy. You get told, you get clap up, or you get told
slap the taste out your mouth.
Get told to go read your book. But we are not about them thing. So this is the thing. So it was taboo, and it was seen as dirty, and nobody talked about it. So when things were happening that was out of your control and you didn't understand, because you didn't have the language or the understanding of what was going on, you then cannot protect yourself. But it's important to be able to teach children when they're little about their body, how precious their body is, and that nobody should touch their body, outside of maybe mum and dad having to wash them. There's ways that you have to be able to help them to understand, because children are very literal, so well, then you're not supposed to touch me, and you have to bath the child, so you've got to kind of put it in context. But I think you have to give them a healthy sense of their bodies, and and they have autonomy of their body, that nobody else has control over their body, but they have autonomy over it, so, and you start from there, and it all needs to be age appropriate as they go through their developmental milestones, and you then have to then increase it more, and children are being exposed to more and more pornography really early. Remember the 9 o'clock watershed, where there was no kissing and no, everything is going on before 9 o'clock, and the them is exposed to everything. So you have to start, you've really got to, start having some real hard conversations. So if you've got an issue with sex because of the way that you were brought up, you then have to get up to speed and get out of your own way, you know what I mean, so that you can not repeat the pattern of how you were brought up, and that can be really difficult. And that also includes making sure that you're telling children what their body parts are, not no pet names, what is the name of, what's your genitals, and being really pragmatic about it, because this is how, pedophiles they're very, very, very charming, and the way how they groom is on some different levels, so you have to kind of be very, very bold and very pragmatic about what it is that you're teaching your children, so that they understand, so
I think the problem with church is that church doesn't want to have that type of conversation.
No.
We've made sex, well, basically women don't get pregnant in churches, and it's just straight immaculate conception anyway. So let's just start at the truth, and then maybe we can bring in this dirty thing with people putting their bodies together, like crying out loud. And so, like, within our churches, there is no addressing what actual real life is, because we haven't figured out a way of actually making sex and sexuality the beautiful thing that it is, although it's been corrupted in so many ways, and then adding that to their spiritual life. Like, the idea of teaching in certain quarters that sex can be a spiritual experience. Oh Lord, you know what I mean? I'd said that in one church one time, man. I saw somebody grab rope, throw it over the beams in the church. I had to run out, man. It was going to be a straight lynching in that church. Just like it was about to be a straight lynching. I had to run out. So yeah, it's important that we kind of reclaim. It's important that we reclaim that normalcy, and that beauty, and teach it in exactly the same way that you were saying. Teach that in churches, because them children are getting abused in that church. In churches that are it's a horror story.
But we also have to learn about because one of the things that because I also work with families as well, so teaching about consent. So I've worked with teenagers for about 20 years, so we're teaching them about consent and what consent looks like, and that's really important. There's a massive drive on helping young people to take ownership of, when something doesn't feel right, that it's okay to say no, at any point, and that's something that's very important about consent. this is very, very important, because
Yeah.
that then, makes a difference,
Mm.
between a young person or a child, or whatever. 'Cause consent is in so many different forms, because also for young children as well, it's important for them to be able to say no.
Mm.
No,
Mm.
and that is something that's really, really important. There's a massive drive
Mm.
on teaching young people and children about consent.
Mm.
I wanted to address the question. I think it's a good question for all institutions, but churches, man, we're pointing at the church quite significantly in that. Number one, that when situations arise, when there's an incident, it needs to be dealt with independently. And having been through this and seen it, the only way to do it is to call the police. It's something we don't want to do. We don't want to be in the news. But you need to be in the news dealing with it properly. Be ashamed of not dealing with it properly. Don't worry about the name of your church. Be worried about not exercising justice. The only way to protect the situation is to call it out. First of all, and that's a policy, church policy. The other element of church policy that should be addressed, in my opinion, is that there should be, in Islam, there are elements of it. Men and women shouldn't be together. You see that. That's a part of the culture. I'm not saying that's the right way, but I'm saying children should not be seen around adults in a certain way. And that is a cultural thing. That is a church policy thing. Children are not allowed to sit on laps. Teenagers are not allowed to be, from teenage, are not allowed to be around young children alone. Adults are not allowed to be with them alone. They have to be in twos. Adults have to be in twos. We need to have church policy that supports safeguarding. If we don't have that cultural shift, every church needs to uphold that. Every church needs to move in that direction collectively. Start a movement on protecting our children. That's how we begin to protect those environments. Will we cure it? No. It doesn't matter what the risk is. Someone who's perverted in certain levels, they will never stop. That's the fact of the matter. But that's my contribution to that topic. I don't know how much longer we spend on it. It's quite heavy. But I appreciate that when we went back in, we looked at some solutions. So thanks for that question.
Mm-hmm.
No worries. All right, cool. We can move on to the second video. We'll move on to the second video now. Let me get that up for you guys. And audience members, thank you as well for joining in that conversation. I know it was a very deep and heavy one. And I appreciate the contributions that were made as well. Okay, so we have a second conversation here. Got a video here. Let me get it up for you guys so you can see it. If I'm correct, this is the right video, right, Curtis?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, cool. Let's zoom in a little bit.
And think, ooh, when I grow up, what do I want to be? And it's something else. It's time for a new journey, a new chance at life, right? And God has blessed us. He has blessed me.
Is that the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to. The audio is pretty bad on this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not very loud.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. Just turn it up on your end. Just blast it on your end, and we'll get it good.
Yeah, I can see the video is not turned up fully on yours.
No, it is.
On the YouTube. Is it?
Oh,
yeah, so the way. So the way.
I think it was turned up all the way.
So the way the video's just really, really quiet.
So just turn up the volume of your computer.
Go. You see how that turned out. I predict that this marriage is going to be on real rocky ground in a moment. Live your dream. Then they invest in stuff and they lose the money. And then they invest in something else and the money gets swindled or stolen. Then they invest again. Then he comes home and throws his bag down. And he's like, and she's like, what? And he's like, I can't do this. And this is your fault. You know, you're over here making all your money and stuff. You had me quit my job and I can't find my live like a child. No, but you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, no, you work. Being a cop was a big part of his identity. He liked it, but she came to him and said that. Clap if you understand what I'm saying. Keep clapping. More great show for everybody. Up next.
Very good, honey. I was up doing a little work here. That's why I got my pajamas on in my office. And then my phone started going off, like praising people. It's like, girl, you're Wendy Williams. First of all, Wendy Williams, honey, God bless you. God bless you. Okay. And so people sent me a little clip, and I said, oh my God, the pain this woman must be in. Wendy, the pain you must be in to feel this way, and I'm so sorry. But listen, let me tell you this. 23 years I've been with my husband. Yes. Broke for a very long time together. Struggled for a very long time together. Succeeded for the last couple of years together, right? My husband took a job in agreement with me. He took a job 15 years ago to help support my dream. And I know you may not know what that looks like in a genuine place, right? But this was an agreement that my husband and I had. And I told him 15 years ago, oh, babe, in 5 years, I'll be able to take you out of there so then you can pursue one of your dreams that you love. Right now, I was his dog in the fight, okay? And he believed in me. And we did it together for the last 15 years. I did every year with him at LAPD, and he did every year with me with rejection and no's in this entertainment industry, right? However, God has blessed me. He has allowed me to manifest. I've been praying on this for a very long time, and it has now come to pass. That is the power of God. It's also the power of allowing God to be first in your marriage, okay? And that is how it remains successful. We keep him first. He is first in our marriage. Not money, not business, not success, but God. He's first, okay? So this is my prayer for you. I pray that love finds you, true love. I pray it finds you and it holds you tight.
That video, right?
It's so special, man. It's so special, man.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl EJ, and really quick.
It's special, man. It's special.
Who's first?
The projection is real. The projection is, and that was probably before Wendy had her breakdown.
Yeah.
It was so clear. I felt the venom and the anger and when, as she was describing, as she was talking about, I'm thinking, but Jesus, this woman not talk about herself. As she's describing what she thinks is going to happen, I said, but the woman I describe her own situation. She's describing her own situation. This is classic projection.
Yeah.
I said, wow.
Yeah.
And she actually went on international TV and said that. I said, Lord.
And then the international TV went on the internet and said it again. Lord, this is going to sound so bait, yeah, but I'm going to say it anyway, yeah. In my book, Living From Here, there's a section that says this, yeah. This is the header. People will never see the brilliance in you they don't want to see. The eyes will never recognize what the heart refuses. The eyes will never see what the heart refuses to recognize. And that's what you see with Wendy Williams. That's what you see with Wendy Williams. You know what I mean? And when I watched it, like you, I was like, oh gosh, this woman is broken. Yeah, she, so when the girl, when she shot back with the reply, there was so much grace in it. There was so much love in it. You could see she went throwing shade. She was honestly saying, sis, look, I wish for you the same that I have. You know what I mean? I wish for you the same that I have. And you saw the difference between brokenness and wholeness. You clearly saw the polar opposites of what wholeness in love looks like and what brokenness because of love looks like. And it was beautiful and tragic to see in the same moment. But the eyes will never see. The eyes will never see what the heart refuses to recognize.
Absolutely.
We'll never see it.
Absolutely. You know, I don't know if has anyone ever had bad advice from a good friend? Like you want to hear, like you're listening to this person, you're going, you know, it's true, it's true. Yeah, it's true what you're saying about what I should do. And you catch yourself knowing, hold on, that don't sound right. Because you want me to live your pain with you.
That's why it's always very, very, very important to know who your village is. Yeah. Because your village needs to be, those who you can trust, that's got your best interest at heart, and that are not advising you or encouraging you from a place of hurt within themselves, that they can still be graceful, because we all grow, and we all experience things at different stages and different rates, and that's okay, because we're not all supposed to win at the same time. Our journeys are all different. But the way how you measure that is when you're on the precipice of greatness, and maybe your friend or your village isn't necessarily there with you, but they're still encouraging you, and they can still encourage you, and they can still celebrate you, because they say, if you win, I win too. Do you know what I mean? And that's where the difference is. But when you're getting advice from somebody and they're in the middle of their their crosses, and the advice that you're hearing sounds very similar to their crosses, you're like, well, thanks. But then you have to then think about, okay, that seemed to be a projection, that doesn't seem to be advice that may be in line with what's going on with me. But that's okay, because what that means is that advice needs to be parked, and maybe I need to discern and find wisdom elsewhere,
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Because the truth is, misery does love company. Misery does love company, and you need people that may stand with you in the mud, but won't wallow with you in the mud. One of you has to be standing on your feet, but at least come in the mud pit with me. Yeah, I don't need, when I'm down, I don't need my friends to get down and wallow with me in the mud. They may get down and comfort me in the mud, but in the end, they need to get to their feet so that can at least pull me to my knees, and then I can make it from there. That's
a friend.
Yeah. Don't wallow with me in the mud. Comfort me in the mud, but then get up and pull me out the mud. Yeah, pull me out the mud. Don't be down here with me. One is enough. One is enough.
I remember there was another video that Wendy had where they celebrated a success that I think brought them some significant wealth. I know that there's some comments here saying, I don't like that she, like, for example, Tiffany at 9:24 p.m. She may be demasculating her husband. I get how that looks, but I think they both share this testimony together. I've seen that. The beautiful thing about what they did was they were quite open about their journey. And whether it was the man or the woman, they still claim that victory together. Do you know what I mean? And it's only demasculating if it's demasculating for you. But their journey is a very open book. And if my wife made a million, I just want to be clear, I know we've got a different audience here. If my wife made enough money to retire me, I'm going to tell people about it. Because like Kelly said, if she wins, we win.
You remember last week I was talking about when I met Yvonne and I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw out of, or the window to throw it out of. Back in those early days, yeah, Yvonne and I would go to a concert. She would drive up in her BMW. I'm sitting next to her. Then Yvonne would ask, how much is it to get into the concert? I said, I don't know. I think it's about £5 each. Yvonne would go into her purse and pull out £20 and give it to me in the car. So that when we walk to the door, I would pull out the money and pay for us. Then I would buy refreshments. And when we would go home, I'd just give her the change. You know what I mean? Because that was the relationship. Now, you can't do that with any and any man. You can't do that with any and any man, and you can't do that with any and any woman. That's right. But we had agreed, like Curtis said, we had agreed to succeed together. When I started working, you know, like literally, this is my 28th year of marriage. For the first 15 years of our marriage, my wife, in wage terms, has always made more money than me. Always made more money than me. But it has never been her thing to turn around and say, well, like, can't you get another job? Like, I've always been making more money than no, because the money she makes is my money and the money that I make is her money. We just make our money. We have our separate money, but we make our money. You know, now I make more money than her. And then it slipped around that she makes more money than me. And now we're making around about this. So we've never made something as unimportant as who makes the most money the barometer for who has control or who has power or who has the most influence, because money is a commodity that comes and goes. Money is a commodity that will always come and go. That has never been the barometer of what is successful in our marriage. Because if it was money, we would have been gone a long time ago. You know, we would have never have made it to year 28. You know, so yeah, I think it's important. Like the whole idea of, you know, now I'm on my own. Now I'm on my own, and I'm outside of church employ. I am outside. I run my own consultancy. In the 3 years that I've been running my own consultancy, it's been rough at times. But she has never turned around and said, well, maybe you need to take another job. The only time she ever holds my feet to the fire is when I say, this is what I need to do. She will only ever hold my feet to the fire about the commitments that I make. Oh, she will be on that. You said you was going to do this. Have you done it? What's your time like, etc. And so I'm just simply saying that love works in a much more healthier way, you know, in which the both of you are one, and what you have is one, and that you understand that you are two interdependent people growing independent people growing interdependent. You know, you're independent people growing and loving interdependent. So yeah, and I think that's what Wendy has an experience, and that's what the woman was telling her. Like, love don't work the way you think it works. It don't work that way. It don't work that way.
Coach, you're smiling.
I'm gonna say it couldn't be me. Okay? I'm gonna keep 100% true. It couldn't be me. Okay.
Yeah. The pride is strong in this one.
I've got too much pride for you to tell the internet that you retired me. It's not a term. It's not even a term I would be proud of to say that I retired my wife. I wouldn't even be proud of that to say that either.
Yeah.
Because
is it the saying? It's the saying. Is it?
It's a saying, and okay. She's an actor. I think she was very much aware of the term "I'm retired my husband" is going to cause controversy due to the environment that we live in, right? The society we live in. Eddie just literally gave us an example. Your wife gave you £20. Why didn't she just go to the thing and put the £20 herself? Everybody's conscious of society and how we judge and how we view things. So the fact that she put on the internet that I retired my husband, she knew the traffic was going to come in a certain way. Now, I am not saying they don't have a good relationship and it can't work. That's not my point. I think it seems like they're in a good place for them too, right? But to for someone to say they retired me, I'd be like, so you take credit for doing something for me, and the whole retirement thing. That's what makes me unsettled. It's like I'm not saying.
No, but she didn't say that. She didn't say that.
No, but the title did. If it was we retired, then it's different. You said you've retired me. Now I know the story behind it. The story behind it is basically they have a history, the thing, I get it. But that title alone, brother, you know
Was
what I
that her
mean?
title? Was that her title?
Yeah, it's on the video. I just watched. Listen, whilst you guys were talking, I watched the whole 15 minutes of her video, the original one. I listened to it whilst you were talking, and listen, there was nothing wrong with it. But the title of we had a plan and listen, let me be honest with you. Me personally, if you told me that plan that you're going to be an actor in 15 years and I have to settle down my dreams, I'd have told you we're in a wrong relationship. That's me personally. But he was okay with that, which means it works because he's okay with that. I am not. I'm not about. You said, and not only that, a lot of people wouldn't have made it through those years because she said 5 years. It turned out to be 15. So we got an extra 10 years on top of that. Okay, I'm not even trying to say. I'm saying this again. Exceptions do not make rules. They are a beautiful exception. Let it be that. It's not going to be a rule. I'm going to say for sisters out there. I'm not going to be a rule for brothers to stay out there. I'm saying there are exceptions to every rule. This is very one of them. So this is their private conversation that they had. This is their thing. That's for me.
Behind the curtains, before this show started, we were talking. We got to find Kojo a woman, right? He's making it very hard for us right now.
Well, it's funny, you know. I remember hearing a Jamaican man when we was in Jamaica at university, coming from a seminar one time in which one of our professors spoke, a female, and he was like, "Me no care what she say. My Bible tell me say, woman are the weaker vessel and man to run things." You know what I mean? Serious. And my wife even was reaching for him. I was like, babe, no, don't. And then I said, he had never been in love. He actually has never been in love.
That's right.
Been in love. And then about a year later, he was in love. His whole theology switch up. His whole theology switch up. And so I'm saying, like, they are the exception, but what if the way they love is the rule? That, you know, that what if the way they love is the actual rule and the way they love is not the exception? What if the way love works is the rule? Like, love is saying, no, this is the way that I work.
Hey, we are divided. This group is divided.
I don't know, man. So here's my thing. People gotta express the way how they want to express themselves. Yeah. So we don't know what Tab and Chance, what they, what they've agreed on, how they share things or what they share or, whatever. It's all down to personal preference and the way how they want to show up. And that is how they show up authentically for themselves. We can, we can tear it apart and I don't agree. I agree. I'm standing on my head. I don't care. The reality is that that's their truth. You understand? And we can't disseminate and, unpack their truth because only they know their truth. They're living it. They've put it out there. They know what what internet is like, and people will take things far, but that's their truth. Wendy Williams, bless her, do you know what I mean? This was before her actual breakdown. So I get it. I think, it was close to the bone. And, I think for her, she definitely projected. I think in everything that people say, there might be an element of some sort of truth, but not everybody's idea and belief of truth may not necessarily be your truth. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's situation is catered to them. Do you know what I mean? The same thing may not happen to somebody else. So, Kojo is like, nah, don't put me on blast like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that guy. That's cool. Maybe, for them, I know that Tab and Chance, they've got a very unique relationship, the way how they kind of, show up, on the internet. I think they're really lovely, to be honest. And I think we need to see more of that because I think as a Black community, we're still trying to understand what this whole love thing is. We're still super pups out here. Do you know what I mean? We're just starting to, gather a little pace and understand a little bit of emotional literacy out here. You know what I mean? And express our feelings and be okay with it. And so here's the thing, when people are now doing the very, very thing that, we would, deem as, what are you doing? May we, take wisdom from it and apply it to our own lives in the way that we feel that we need to apply it. Mic drop.
Bang. Love it.
I would drop the mic, but it's an expensive one. So I'm gonna put it down gently. Yeah.
I agree with everyone. Yeah. Well, you look what you're doing. You see, you get to pick and choose what comments come up. Ayanna told an audience.
I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, Lord have mercy. This one, yeah.
Ayanna told an audience that her husband. Oh, okay. Which one you putting on?
Oh, sorry. You want to comment?
It's cool. Yeah, that Ayanna told an audience that her husband was broke and later admitted that it changed their relationship and it finally led to a divorce. But they had mega problems that she's also talked about.
There's always other extenuating circumstances. You know what I mean?
And again, I'm not saying that they're wrong. By the way, I'm saying
for you
personally, it doesn't work for you.
I love what they're doing for them. And if he's good enough to hold that down, to do that, fantastic. I'm gonna ask this question: you're gonna hold down a rapper for 15 years if he's not making it? I don't know. Maybe people wouldn't do that, but
I don't know about the rapper one. I don't know about that one.
See, but no, there's no beef. I'm saying that for them it works because they made their pact between the two of them, so that's what they wanted to do, right? And what I was saying was, I'm saying this straight. These two seem to they follow the principles of God, yes, but I also think as well, listen, some people are made for each other. They literally are made for each other. You might not be those people who are made for each other, so you go and do the exact same thing and find yourself in the bin. And I'm saying to you, there are principles that we operate by. I'm saying love is the most quintessential thing. Following the principles of God in your relationship is a quintessential thing. But first and foremost, make sure those two people can actually endure that kind of thing. I'm a person that can't do that. I think Eddie said it earlier on. You got to know what kind of person you are. If you're going to make that pact about,
and who you're with.
I'm going to follow my dream for the next 15 years. Because imagine I get a relationship now and I start telling you, I'm going to make it big on YouTube. And I'm out here for 15 years, struggling for 15 years for YouTube. You might be looking at me some way. Because if you're not able to contain that with me, if you have dreams of your life being a certain way, and then you realize it's not getting to that stage and you're getting impatient, we're going to be in trouble. So
but you need that ride or die spirit, bro.
You got to find the right one. That's why you got to find the right one, though, bro. And like I said, you'll be surprised if that's why I said it's not a rule. It's an exception. There are not many of those people that you're talking about that will ride with you 15 years, cuz, and you are only at the 15. Let me keep quiet.
The point I'm making, though, Cold Joe, is within the way love is supposed to work, they look like they're the exception. But what if the rule is that's the way love is supposed to work? That's the point I'm simply making. They are the exception because, like, damn, they're making it work. You know what I mean? But what if the rule is, no, that's the way love is supposed to work? You know what I mean? You're supposed to sacrifice for each other. You're supposed to put your dreams on hold if your partner's in that space where theirs can actually be the ones that shine first. And then they say, all right, your turn. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to pass the baton or you know, what if that is...
Would you pass it, Eddie? But Eddie, would you pass it if you had a dream? That's my point. If he had a dream too, would he pass it up?
Well, I would.
I wouldn't pass it up. I would pause
No. It's delayed.
Okay.
I wouldn't pass it up because I know that that's what I'm supposed to do, and in the end, that's what I'm gonna do. But if she's in the space where all she needs is one step, but my dreams needs 5 steps, I'm babe, take the step. I can pause. Yeah. You take the step and you blow up. Okay, you're good. All right, time for me to step now. Yeah, I would pause it. I wouldn't cancel it. So like, right, forget about everything that I want to do. It's all about you. Like, no. Because I am still an independent person and we're still growing interdependently. And both of those things have to be valued in love. Both of those things have to be strengthened and given agency in love. So I'm just saying.
Do you know what? To add to that, if I put my project on a back burner for however amount of time, it's going to cause a problem with me internally. I'm going to have a frustration with that. But actually, working on her hustle is us working on her hustle. is really then is both of us hustling. We are both doing it.
I agree though.
You know what I mean? So, but I know that there's an element of the fact that she actually said it in public, which might actually create another set of problems. But I think the fact is we are both doing this.
But yeah, he's the one that's retiring. That's my point. We're both doing it, but you got retired. That's my thing. See, so
It won't bother me. We both did this.
It would bother me because we said we, and it wasn't we. It was I. I retired you. So that's what I'm not saying.
Yeah,
that
but maybe the spirit in which he could have meant that was like the work that we put into my hustle.
I'm finally retiring, which would have been you saying it.
I've given him a gift of retirement.
She said that. I'm retiring you.
What did she mean by that?
He should have come out and said, "Listen, I'm retiring."
Hold on. There's a comment down here that I think needs
pride.
to be this.
I know,
I think, which I think is really
the pride is really strong in this one. Sorry, what was that, Kelly? Sorry.
Is it AW plus women? Yeah. Can I just say, let me just take little time for this year one, because this is real. Yeah. Women put their dreams on pause all the time when they have children and stay at home. This is no different working as a team. Can I get an amen?
Yes and no. I don't know about that.
I beg your pardon.
I can't birth children. I can't birth children. That's why we're different. I can't birth children.
No, but okay. So I'm speaking from the perspective of a woman, right?
Go for it.
When you have children, yeah, there are things that you may want to do, capable of doing, that would be helpful to the family. Sometimes you do have to put it on hold in order to prioritize the needs of the children, especially in their early years. Yeah. Often, and there's so much research that has gone into this, that women in the workforce are the ones that often miss out on promotions. They often have to take pay cuts because obviously they can't work certain hours because, do you know what I mean? Because of childcare, commitments. They can't take promotions, or they want to take promotions because they're not sure whether they're going to be respected because they're a woman and because they've got children to take care of, and whether they can straddle both fences. So, this is something that a lot of women do all the time. Some women take career breaks and say, look, I can't work and take care of these kids all at the same time. It's one or the other, So,
it's one vision, one dream, man. Children.
It is. But here's the thing, though.
I'm not disagreeing with you so much.
Yeah, but sometimes, for the greater good, you know what I mean? Maybe one person has to hold up the family for a time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Whilst, other things are being taken care of, so that then maybe the other person can get involved and, can add to their dreams. It's not an easy thing. And this is why I'm saying that, everyone's situation is unique and everyone's situation is different. There are, now women are making more money than men. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot more stay-at-home dads, a lot more a lot more men that are taking on like the bulk of the childcare, because the women are the ones that are out there smashing it. We also have to take those things into consideration, and one is not better or greater than the other. Everything contributes to the dream. Yeah, if anybody want to retire me, I'm very happy. I'm very welcome to open arms. Retire me. I'm happy to be retired, So
I need Juanita to tell me that right now. And I need her to go on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all of that.
I don't mind. I'll say yes. I was retired.
I think it's the way in which we've been, same like what Kojo asked. Why, Yvonne gave me the money in the car. Why didn't she just go and pay it at the door? Because we're Black people in the Caribbean community, and we're Black people in the Caribbean community in which we know that certain things are just seen in a certain way. We're 65 babies. It's not like we're even 1990 babies or 1980 babies. We're 65 babies. And so with our generation, she just knew. No, I can't have him coming to the door with me and me paying for him. I don't want him to feel any type of way about that. You know what I mean? And that was her protecting the way people looked at me. Forget about what they know about us and what they perceive our love to be. She was protecting the way people looked at me. You know what I mean? I was good to go to the door. Like, yeah, that's my woman. My woman's paying for me. But for her, she was like, no, I ain't gonna do that. And I absolutely appreciated that. You know what I mean? I absolutely appreciated that. You know, and so like, yeah, I mean, there's things that we're just kind of taught love in a way that we've had to relearn. You know, I didn't have no one to teach me that. I didn't have a dad to teach me that. But I kind of knew how love is supposed to. I felt like I knew how love is supposed to work when you're in a relationship and you're supporting each other and you're believing in each other. So I didn't feel no way to allow for that to happen. Would I do that now? Of course I'll do that now. We're married 28 years. Just like, yeah, babe, go pay for the thing. Go pay for the thing. Like, no, you go pay for the thing. You know, I'm just like, it means nothing to me. And if she landed a job where she was saying, all right, babe, I'm going to retire you, because there's other things that I want to do outside of working 9 to 5. And if she could retire me, you know, rather than the state retire me,
I will wear a hoodie. My wife retired me straight like this.
Straight up.
You lot are good. I don't know. Like, you lot are good. You lot are really good.
And that's really just built on the fact, Kojo, that that's the way we've learned to make love work for us. That's just built on the fact that this is the way we've learned to make love work for us. You know, when we first got married, for instance, you know, back in the 80s, you know, we were bathing. We just stayed in West London. We never traveled the world. We never did nothing. Once I got married, the first time I left England to go on a holiday was on my honeymoon. And then we went to Jamaica. And then we went to other places. And I kept on saying, man, I need to tell Simon. Simon was my brother. You know, we need to come on holiday together. You know, so my wife was like, well, why you want to go on holiday with your brother for? I said, well, we never used to, you know. She said, well, you married me. You come on holiday with me. And literally for the first 10 years of our marriage, this was a serious argument. Like, I'm not saying I don't want to go on holiday with you, babe. I'm just saying I've never been on holiday with my brother. I don't want to see some of the world with my brother. But my wife was raised by just her and her grandmother. And I was raised in a house full of siblings and then grandchildren. So I've always been raised in a larger tribe, in a larger community. But after 10 years, I was realizing, like, it's actually true, you know. Yeah, I married my wife. Let me travel the world with my wife. But her mindset was, actually, it's true, you know. Yeah, we travel everywhere together. Go on holiday with your brother. And then I was going away, and she said, no, go with Simon. I said, you sure? She was like, yeah, go with Simon. Both of us went away. We went abroad on one of my speaking engagements that I had abroad. But it took 10 years. But we finally figured out how love works and how we make love work for us. So, I mean, I'm you know, sorry for hugging the mic like that. Yeah, and I wish the same for you, Kojo.
I was just gonna say
what I found out. I wish it for you, my brother.
Hey,
I was just gonna.
When I say, listen, I'm not. When I say, obviously, I don't want it to say during retirement. I'm not saying I wouldn't be happy if my wife reached the heights. That's not that's not what I'm debating here. I'm saying you coming on the big tonight to come and tell people that you retired me. When actually she didn't retire me, because in essence, like you said, it was teamwork. We agreed on a plan. The plan was that I would work.
She put it out there.
You would do your dream.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but supposedly he agreed with it. Supposedly agreed, yes, baby, it's okay. You can.
If he's agreed, that's cool. If he agreed, that's cool. I'm saying it couldn't be me. You can't put me in that position, because I would never put you in that position either. I would never say I've retired my wife. I don't get pride from that. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's a teamwork thing, right? So that for me would not work for me. And I'm not saying I wouldn't be excited. I would love her if she won the £1 million. I'll be happy. We won. Shoot, I don't have a 9 to 5 now, so there'll be nothing to quit. But I'll be like, listen, baby, we can do whatever we want to do.
I used to look up to you, you know, bro. Like tonight, I don't know. I don't know who you are. You know what?
No, I'm saying though, this is the question I'm asking though, yeah. If within your love together though, Cold Show, yeah, your wife blew up, and then privately she says like, babe, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? Because I want to retire you to do that. Yeah. If the two of you lying at home, you're at home and you're just chilling in each other's arms, and she said, babe, what do you want to do? Look, this is what we have here. What do you want to do? This is all the money that we got here, that we made here. I want to retire you to do that. You would have no problem with her saying that to you personally?
No, I have no problem with that at all.
All right, so that's the way love would work for you. That you would be like, yeah, retire me. No, but don't go in public and tell people that you're retired.
Why are you telling people you retired me? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you telling people retire me? First of all, I'm not in a job.
But it could be for inspiration to other people.
No, you don't need to do that for inspiration. Why are you using me for inspiration?
That's the way love works for them.
I don't mind you telling
that's what works for them, though, isn't it?
I don't mind you telling the story. I don't mind you telling the story. That's not what I'm having an argument about. I'm saying the term "you retired me." That's my difference. You can tell the story and say, "Listen, we had a plan. We were doing this today," but don't tell people you retired me, because you ain't retired me. First of all, my job's not retired.
You wait till you fall in love. You see,
when we need to fall in love, and you soon
to come and say that my wife retired me.
Talking different.
No one's. I'm not saying.
Just let me swim in caramel ocean.
Nah. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. You can't tell me you retired me,
bro. When you get that, when that thing lashed.
Listen, yeah, he's gonna get lashed. He's gonna get lashed the hardest.
You're gonna be wearing pink suits, bro.
No, not at all. Listen, I want you to be proud of the things that you do. If my future wife did what Tabitha did, right, I will be so proud. Do you understand? Right?
Yeah,
but part of her pride was retiring me. No. What your plan? I love the fact you reached your heights and you did what you did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've accomplished. We've reached that summit now. Fantastic. Let's go about our business. Yeah. If I was working a 9 to 5, I can quit. If babe, that's what you want, I can quit and I can do my dream. Fantastic. But don't tell the world that you retired me. Do you understand? I like I said, I wouldn't do that even to my wife. So that's what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't say that because I don't take pride in that. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, it wouldn't work for me. I'm not saying it doesn't work for them. I'm saying for me, it couldn't be me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It couldn't be me.
In the great words of that naga work. That naga work.
But you know what? After that tweets, I retired my husband Kojo. You're gonna have an argument and suck up that money. Gonna move on.
No, but as I said,
I'm only joking, bro. I've been pulling your leg for ages.
I hope. Listen, I hope my future wife makes money and she loves me and makes money and all this stuff. I'll be happy. I'll be very happy. Just don't come and tell the world that you retired me. Right. You retired LBB from YouTube. Like, get out of it, man.
I'm gonna take this clip. I'm gonna play this clip so that they know. Don't do that. Okay. Can I ask us to go to a dilemma, bro? You got a dilemma, bro.
Yeah. Let me
play with the reform F boy.
Let me.
You got rules.
Let me go to my. Let's make sure there's no. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me make the zoom up because y'all aren't gonna see this. Oh, we're gonna have to zoom in big time, boy.
Oh man,
it's all right.
Jeez, have mercy.
It's all right, man.
Okay, hold on. Let me make this into a smaller picture because this is not gonna work for us. Sorry. Okay, was that the first one? Oh, here we go. I've got screenshots here. Okay, that's the second one or first one?
This is a dilemma.
Yes. Hold on.
I thought Kojo was Mr. 50-50 guy. That's what they're saying.
I'm not, I really ain't. Now I've started making money. They don't even ask me about 50-50. I don't know what that is. Okay. Hold on. I want to change that name. I don't want the name to be seen. But okay, cool. Let me stop sharing that screen so that you can see what I'm seeing. Sorry, guys. Let me show you so you can see what I'm seeing. Okay.
Is your name Kelly, sis?
Yes, it is.
It's a pleasure to share this space with you.
Oh, thank you. You too.
I've been loving your wisdom. Pleasure to share this space with you.
Lord of mercy, it's too small to be doing this,
They think you're looking for a sugar mama. Oh, it's interesting.
They think I'm looking for a sugar mama. No. Don't listen to Maria. Maria's winding you up, man.
Okay. Well, Maria might know you better than me. Tell us more.
Maria knows that is not it at all, bro.
Okay.
Nah, man. Don't even let them do that. You know me. Don't let them do that to you. But let me read it to you because I think my screen's going to be a bit mad to try and make you guys see what I'm seeing. Okay, cool. Yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Then let's read it out. Let's read it out. Is that the first one? The second one? Yeah, cool. All right. So it says, I'm gonna have to read it. Boy, this thing is killing me now. Okay, right, 2 years. Oh, jeez, have my sorry, two guys. Hold on.
We can zoom it back a bit, maybe, and then you can.
Whenever I zoom it just takes it away from the thing, and I can't do it for you guys so you can see. All right, let me just read it from my email because it's doing a madness. I'm not sure what the first part even says, but okay. It says here, we're coming to 12 years in December. Every year I had a gift for my husband for 6 years. He had none for me. My God, mercy of God. Let me read that again. Every year I had a gift for my husband for 6 years. He had none for me. A couple of those years I planned trips. Also nothing from him. Initially, it didn't bother me because I was happy to make him happy. But as the years rolled by, I started to not see the love being reciprocated to me in my love language, physical touch and gifts. His language is acts of service and words of affirmation. So I asked him in year 5. He would say, I forgot. Don't be so sensitive. Look at what I do all year round. The problem is he's not consistent in anything. So often I'm left bewildered because other good qualities and situations often escalated. If I say I don't like something he's doing, it's a touchy topic if I try to talk or discuss an issue in our relationship. So over the years, I don't. I know it's wrong now, but years ago, I would stay silent to avoid conflict. So going back to anniversary issue, I stopped doing for him last 4 years. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let me get the second part up. My God, mercy of God.
Are they married 12 years? Did I hear that?
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Okay. And let me bring up a second screen so you guys can see it. Okay. Sorry about these technicals, guys. It's a bit difficult to get this. It's a bit mad right now. People are not buying gifts, but people are retiring their husbands. Can you imagine?
Oh, behave yourself.
Publicly.
Oh, let me. Okay. Oh, I can't even read what that says. Something about I care, but I do. Okay, let me read this. I'm 39 and he's 53. He's been married twice. I don't know if that affects his desire. You guys can't see that, can you? Sorry, my bad.
No.
My bad. Here we go. Sorry about that. What was I just saying? Here we go. Let's go back to what I was saying. Yeah. I'm 39 and he's 53. He's been married twice. I don't know if that affects his desire to keep the light on in the marriage. No matter how much I communicate what I need, he seems to ignore it. Yes, we have tried counseling by 4 sessions. He didn't want to go back. I tried to get him to read 4 love languages or watch your videos together, and he won't. He says it's nonsense to listen to others. Hey, Charlie, you better listen to me. You might be retired by the end. By me watching your videos, I realized my mistakes in diving into this relationship. But I'm here now, 12 years later, and extremely unhappy, but still want to salvage something if possible. I was raised in the church, so other than infidelity and death, I should keep trying, right? Anyway, asks if you need more details. Okay.
Ooh.
6 years. Not
all right, both of them are in my head. I need to jump off for 5 minutes and I'm going to come back. All right.
No ways, Cap.
Give me a sec. Give me a sec.
So there's so many questions. There's so many questions to ask.
Well, go ahead, Kelly. Sorry.
No. There's so many questions. I think I'm still processing. I guess because I can't read it through. I can't.
Yeah. Let me try and put this so you can see a little bit of it.
Sorry, did you want to say something, Kelly? Did you want to give?
No.
You know what was interesting there? She said, I jumped into this relationship. That there, and yeah, that there spells probably the root of the challenges that they're having.
Yeah.
And so you find someone who you like, but the work in the beginning is not done.
Yeah. The foundations haven't been set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you are in a dilemma, and a dilemma just means it's complicated.
Yeah.
And that any way you turn, it's going to be a challenge. Meaning, if you
Yeah.
try to work it out, it's going to be a challenge. And if you if you do nothing, it's going to be a challenge. You just sit there and do nothing. So it's
Yeah.
tough either way. But there are solutions, but only
Yeah.
if you both want it.
Yeah. I think I think the age gap also plays a part in it as well. Because because I think sometimes what happens is with older men, older people, in general, they become a bit more set in their ways. It can be more difficult to kind of, adapt and compromise a little bit more. The foundations weren't set. And I think what is positive about this is that this person has realized, actually, I can see where there were errors in the beginning. But even though there were errors in the beginning of, okay, maybe, jumping into such a relationship quite quickly, it can be worked through. But I think obviously the difficulty is if the other person isn't willing, do you know what I mean, to participate and to maintain and, change the relationship, she's going to be doing it on her own, and what's been happening in terms of her giving him gifts and doing things, she was actually feeding into her own love language. I was just thinking in terms of the gifts and stuff.
Wow.
Her love language is physical touch and gifts.
Yeah.
So she wasn't getting, because she wasn't getting that feedback, getting, her needs weren't being met. She then met them herself by
giving.
You know what I mean? In the hope that he would then, reciprocate. It sounds as though that, for him, he's got probably little awareness of, needs in terms of meeting needs. Meeting needs doesn't necessarily mean taking out the rubbish and, you know what I mean, taking a car to get petrol and tuning up her car. You know what I mean? There's specific, and that's about tuning into your partner and knowing what it is that they really like, what makes them tick. And it sounds as though he's not worked it out. He ain't doing it, and you know what I mean. He's not willing to learn.
Well, to add to that, someone made a comment up top. I'm going to come to that first. Revelation Roof, 10:04 p.m. Right? If we can throw that up, bro, if that's possible. You better speak to the Lord quickly, speak in tongues, and ask if this was His will. Now, I have a problem with that. Is it? I have a problem when people feel that they understand God's will for their partner, in the sense that this is the one for you. I don't think many people ask if this is the one and they work it out. And does God answer a prayer and he wasn't consulted? They work it out. That was me. I'm working it out as I go. I didn't ask God. I just told God, this is what I want. This is the one. I didn't ask his permission. I didn't even know about talking to God like that 20 years ago. And so here I am working it out. And even if God had showed me she's the one, I would have still have gone through what I've gone through, the ups and the downs. Nothing would have changed. Does it mean that God doesn't speak to people? No, it doesn't. But I just want to clear that up, because this couple, they haven't asked God, yet here they are. Can they, like Kelly said, can they fix it? Yes, they can, if they both want to. But this then leads to the question before that. What was the problem in the first two marriages? We did this last time, didn't we? The first two marriages could have a common element in them. And if you haven't had those deep conversations, you're going to have to go back. But it takes two. So my thing is, and I don't want to say split up. I'm not. I've seen a few comments here. It's not about running out the door at this stage. It's actually about taking your time to gently bring him back. He may be the guy. I don't know him. He may be the guy that really is not about going back and addressing some issues, and that will spell a terminal problem for your marriage. But if you can get him to go back. Now, look, one thing I want to say as well is that sometimes you go to the wrong type of counselor. Not all counselors work for everybody. So the only thing you really have to do practically is to find the right counselor. Some guys don't want to do that. Some women don't want. Some people are not ready for counseling. And that could be the end of their marriage on that basis. But I would say, go and find a really good counselor. You may have to go through 2, 3, 4. But if he doesn't want to, what he's really saying is, I'm not prepared to do what it takes to save this marriage. What can you do at that point?
My kind of recommendation is still find a therapist and work on yourself, because
Yeah.
you know, the love comes from self first. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as you start to work on yourself and recognize, you know, who you are, and you know, and recognize what it is that you need within a relationship, you then start to treat yourself differently. And as you start to then learn to treat yourself differently, that has a massive impact on your relationship. That will have a massive impact on her relationship with her husband, because she will no longer respond to him in the way that she once did. And he will then be forced to change. Now, it will ruffle feathers, because he will be annoyed, because he will not want to respond to her in the new way that she's now, you know, treating herself. It's going to upset him, and that will be the deciding factor whether he's, you know, willing to make that change and start to see her, really see her for who she really is, and really learn to cherish her, or it's going to cause more friction, and that could, you know, end the relationship. Do you know what I mean? You know, either or. I think, you know, when you do the therapy, you know, you have to be prepared for whatever's, you know, going to come, but it's all going to be good. If you get what, I don't know if I'm making any sense. You know, it's all going to benefit. It's still going to benefit you at the end of it. You know,
Always.
because actually, what you learn and what you gain is a relationship with yourself. You know.
I want to go back to Happy Princess 10:09 p.m.
What's that?
Please, we put it up just a moment ago.
Oh.
Sorry, comment. Sorry. There's something that is very interesting there. Some men don't see buying gifts as important. Now, this dilemma is a lady who is actually trying to learn love languages. I just want to say, love languages are not everything. They give us an insight. Okay. And we shouldn't rely on them. That's the truth, in my opinion. Sorry, I should say that's my opinion. However, the purpose of the love language is, in my opinion, service. So some men don't see, or women don't see buying gifts as important, which is really saying, I don't see the need to meet you where you like to be met. And that is, we don't buy gifts to our partner because we don't think it's important. We buy it for them because it means something to them. All you're doing is serving them. Everybody needs to be reminded of that. At some point in the marriage or relationship, long-term relationships, we forget what we're doing there. Sometimes we slip and slide, and the purpose of what we're about isn't really established. Ultimately, in my opinion, the relationships that work best are ones where we are looking after each other first. So, for example, with Juanita, she and I are very, very different. We're wired very different. And I have to constantly remind myself that I have to do what she likes first. So she gets what she wants most of the time, as far as I'm concerned. Like Kelly, as far as I'm concerned, right? Where she might be, she's next door, she might be going, what? But that's as far as I'm concerned. But for her, she needs to meet my need first. So we're serving each other. That's ultimately how it would work most effectively. That takes a lot from me trying to get mine. Maybe I should give her hers. And it works. So this whole gift thing is a mindset of how I think of you and how I see you. I want to make you happy. Let's both do that. And we often forget which way around it goes. Sometimes we're there and we just lose the vision, lose the purpose. Yeah, you've read the book, Love Language is great. But the mindset of, and Kelly pointed it out very cleverly, actually, you might have been serving yourself, and we do that. But I think defining the purpose of your relationship, your vision, your aim, your goals will really do a lot of correcting in this dilemma. I don't know, Eddie, you didn't get to hear it, did you?
No. No. Can I ask, did we establish that within the relationship, especially the first one, because she sounded like she wanted the person to love her with her love language. Like his love language is acts of service, but she's buying him gifts. Did she just do acts of service, which is his love language?
She thinks that's his language, but because he's not consistent in his responses, she's confused. I think that's the impression I got.
Did the two of them do the love language test? Because love languages change after a while.
Mm-hmm. They do. They do.
Yeah. The love languages that Yvonne and I had in year, well, actually this thing didn't exist. The book wasn't exist. I think this book came out, I think, in about maybe the 8th year of our marriage. 8th, 9th year of our marriage. So the love languages that we both discovered in year 9 ain't the love languages that we both have now in year 28.
Yeah.
It changes. Right. It changes as you change.
Yeah, it changes as you change. It literally changes as you change. So the idea of, her love language, his language is acts of service and words of affirmation, and her love language being physical touch and gifts. If she's buying him gifts, he's saying like, thanks, but that's not my love language. My love language is acts of service and words of affirmation. So if she's doing that, then she's feeding into his. And if he's not giving her physical touch and gifts, then maybe that's where the disconnect is, because my love languages are gifts, and my love languages are gifts and words of affirmation. And so I'm giving you gifts. I've been buying gifts. It's like, thank you, but that's not where I feel loved. That's not where I feel loved. All relationships start with communication, and all relationships end when communication ends. And the first place of communication is understanding, how do you receive love? All right, let me talk to you in that space of love.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting. Someone said, AW said he wouldn't take the quiz. Do you know when someone just doesn't do what is needed, right? Like fundamental things, like if they're just refusing to do those fundamentals, you have a problem. And I know it's obvious, but so again,
they're gonna sabotage. I've had couples that have come to me for therapy, and you can tell who has orchestrated and who is leading, the session in terms of who wants to really work and who wants to come. And sometimes and this is why I always say it's very, very important that both parties are willing to do the work and are willing to come, because if you're dragging your partner along and they don't want to come, they'll mash up the session.
Yeah.
They'll sabotage it because they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna work. It's in fact it's gonna be quite painful for the other person. So everybody has to be ready and willing, you know.
I
You
don't see
know.
the end. I don't see the end of a marriage. Like, I don't know enough, but I would say
No. We don't know enough.
the car is kind of driving towards that direction.
I think more questions need to be asked.
Yeah.
You know, she needs to kind of, they need to have a real honest conversation about, okay, what does showing love to you look like? What what makes you tick? What works for you and what doesn't work for you? And this is what works for me, and this is what doesn't work for me. Can we, try and work? Maybe work on that. Lots of questions need to be asked. Again, it's about people's willingness to maintain, to work, to sustain this relationship.
It takes work. People don't understand, like, love is hard bloody work. It's hard work. It's hard work. It's sacrifice. It's grind.
What?
You know what I mean? It's grind. It's hard work. It ain't. You don't get it for free, because the natural human heart is self-preservationist and selfish. Love means you have to actually come out of yourself and trust that when you come out of yourself, the person that you're coming out of yourself with ain't gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna take advantage of that. Ain't gonna screw it up. Ain't gonna use it in your face. You know what I mean? Wants to go all the way down the road with you and just not. Well, that takes work. It takes work. It takes work. You know what I mean? And when some of your expectations are dashed, and when or if trust is broken, whether or not you see that, all right, this person is more than just what they've done here. This person is more than what they've done here, and you put enough love currency in your bank to just say, no, we can draw on it and we can get past this, and you're going to grow from this, and I'm going to learn from this as well, and we're going to be better at the end. That takes work, Bridget. That takes work. You ain't getting that for free. You know what I mean?
Reality.
So if you ain't really interested in that, love ain't for you. Just get a grind. Serious. And I'm being dead serious with you. Figure out what works in very small and incremental ways for you. But if love don't work for you in that way, if you don't want to be that type of person and grow into that type of person, yeah, then it ain't for you. It ain't for you. Just be situational. I'm saving you a lot of heartache. I'm saving you a lot of heartache if you ain't willing. Now, I think what we have is that whole space where, and I think you said it earlier on, Kelly, that within our communities, like the Caribbean communities, we're only just learning to just be healthy with this. We're only just learning that, therapy is good. You know what I mean? What they come and say, the old folks say that we don't do that, but taking care of self is the new black. We're only just learning that therapy is actually good. I do need a therapist. Therapy doesn't mean that I'm broken. Therapy just means that I need help outside of myself. And we're only just learning to actually understand what it means to love and be comfortable in that space of love. So, what I'm saying is what I'm saying may rub you the wrong way. It may rub you the wrong way. But if you ain't willing to put the work in love, then you ain't gonna actually get you ain't gonna get nothing out of it, because it takes work. It takes work. You're not getting it for free.
Well, someone
getting it for free.
Someone asked, should she leave or separate? Should she leave or separate? I don't think you're there yet. I don't think you're at the separate stage yet, but I would say is that you soon be coming to that point. I think that, like Kelly said, there's work to be done on you, because when I read and I don't mean to talk disrespectfully at all, speaking love, there are things that I'm reading in this thing here. I'm just wondering, number one, do you even have a voice? Because you really need to assert yourself enough to set boundaries. He's never you're giving the impression that he's never done anything for you of your personal value, right? Yeah. So, okay, I could say, yeah, well, I go to work and I come home every day. That means I love you. That's not how it works. There's something more intricate that needs to take place. He refuses to recognize that. Are you saying it enough to know that, look, either we work this out or we're done? Either we work this out or we're going to crash. Anything else won't work. There's nothing in between. You need to be able to articulate that this is dire.
Violent, yeah.
You need to be able to do that. And when I hear someone say it's a touchy issue in our relationship, so over the years I don't.
She's
you know,
silencing herself. She's what they call it, self-abandoning.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called self-abandoning. Yeah.
That is dangerous because you're really
Yeah.
facilitating the problem. You've got to just be, look, every
She's
time you shout,
enabling it to continue.
right? Every time you shout at me, every time you refuse to talk to me, this is how I feel. So I'm just going to be clear with you. If you can't talk to me, it means you don't want me. Be very clear with me. And don't tell me that, because I come home every night or because I do the shopping or I'm earning the keep, that you love me. That's not how this works. Because anybody can do that. The government do it.
But, there's something else here about, the fact that he's been married a couple of times. It would be interesting to know what his history of relationships has been like. Has the same thing reared its ugly head in other relationships? Understanding how he was brought up and things like that. So those are really important. That maybe that's therapist.
Because they rushed into it, didn't they?
Yeah,
I got the impression. So I have to know now who you are. The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's work this out. But if I don't get that, what do we have? Because I'm not an advocate of anyone sticking around when they know it's dead. And I'm not talking about divorce, separation maybe, but let's get real.
Yeah.
Please don't abandon yourself. That's a serious, deep thing. Yeah. I like that.
I mean, like Shirley Brown said, it ain't no fun being in love all by yourself. It ain't no fun being in love or by yourself. But she's got to the place where she's responding negatively and not in a way of agency. Because, she said she's at that part where she says, well, over the last 4 years, I just haven't bothered now. I don't want to talk about it, so I'm not talking about it. Right, fair enough. I never used to talk about it, but now I am talking about it. I know it's wrong. She said, I used to stay silent to avoid the conflict, but now I'm talking. So her response is like, all right, over the last anniversaries, I just stopped. I just stopped doing for him over the last 4 years. So they are both in an unhealthy space.
Yeah.
They are both in an unhealthy space. He's in a space where he's not engaging, and she's in a space where she stopped engaging.
So they're existing.
Yeah, they're existing within it. Their communication has stopped. And like I said, all relationships start with communications, and all relationships end when communication stops. So that's where they find themselves. They find themselves in a space in which they've stopped communicating, and that can't be healthy for them. That isn't in the long term going to be healthy for them. It will come into resentment, and then it will just come into either splitting up or, God forbid, having relationships outside of their relationship in order to fill the gap. So if they ain't gonna find Kelly to sit down with and have some therapy, then yeah, it's serious. If they ain't gonna get in therapy, and I think a lot of couples put themselves in this space because they don't have therapy before they get before they marry.
Again.
Yeah, they just don't come and have premarital counseling, or just even if they're not going to get married, but you feel like, yeah, I can go down the road with this one and see where it happens. Well, then go and get some relationship counseling. Yeah, just to put something in your backpack for the road. Just to put some snacks, put some edibles, put something healthy in your, well, not edibles, but like something healthy. You know, healthy food.
Eddie's hungry.
My edibles, you know.
Hey, you just may need it for the road. You just may need it for the journey. But no, yeah, just to get some help, just so that you can see who is this person that I'm deciding to go down this road with.
Yeah.
You know, go get some couples counseling. Go get some relationship counseling. You know, you ain't gonna lose anything, and you're gonna gain. It's gonna be a gain for you. Yeah.
That's if he goes.
But this is the thing, because a lot of people are scared of it, you know, because they don't know what it's about, you know, what could come up. It is quite I guess if you're not used to talking about your feelings and talking about what's going on for you, it must be quite a scary concept of going and seeing a stranger who's going to completely, you know, unpick your relationship. And, you know, there's a possibility that things could you know, things could change, you know. And I get it. I get it, you know. And when I have new people that come in and see me, I just explain to them that it's okay. You know, it's okay to be unsure. It's okay to, you know, wonder whether you've done the right thing. It's okay when you get into conflict in the room. It's fine. This is the place to do it, because this is where we can unpack it, you know, and examine it properly, and try and understand it in a different way and find different ways of dealing, you know, with the conflict, because they want a different result, but they're doing the same thing. So what we're going to do is learn to do something different in order to get the different result, you know? So, yeah.
Do you know what? I just requested a comment in the private chat there to be put up, please. I'm a very critical person. It's one of the last ones. We have to stop telling people to stay in toxic relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
we should. But I just want to address that in that we are. Boy, can I say this? We are all toxic at some point or another. And
You're
this
on
is
your
a
J's, Curtis. You're on your J's. I'm only joking. I'm only
we are
joking.
Wait. It's my turn, isn't it? It's
the retirement thing, bro.
But we you know, when you go through the years, you start to see who you are. You know, I realize that this thing that people love me for is the thing that's killing my relationship, right? So we are all toxic in different capacities at different times. And sometimes the smallest things can be a real problem later on. And so toxicity is a very subjective term. And at some points, there can be marriages that can be, long-term relationships, marriages that can be really chaotic. They can have some significant problems, 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years, and then overcome. It is always a risk. It's really, in my opinion, the way to work that out is to be able to hold your hands up and say, I did everything that could be done before I left. And that means putting yourself into therapy, having conversations with, asserting yourself, being honest about your past, crying tears. When you've done those things, then you could say, look, it's time to go, if the other person isn't willing. But until then, and for people who are in relationships or dating, you can go when you like. When you're married, you have to think twice.
That's true.
Especially when there's other lives involved. Especially when there's other lives involved. You know what I mean? Now, if it's the case that you're in a marriage, the man's been cussing you out from day one, and then he started beating you from day 5.
Out.
You need to take yourself out. Yeah. You need to take yourself way, way, way out. But if there's just personality, you know what I mean, personality issues that you have, you know, and the issues are around, well, you know, career choices and And some of the things that we was talking about, well, you want to move in this direction, but she wants you to move in that direction, or he wants you to move in this.
She wants to retire you.
Yeah, those are the things that, you know, holler at Kelly, sit down and let her work you through them so that you can figure out how you compromise, you know, how you patch yourselves together, and how you be realistic about how you journey forward. But if there's things like physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, no, man, take yourself out.
You can't even begin to work. You can't even think straight in them situations, you know.
No, there ain't nothing. You know, somebody asked, what if they've already had premarital counseling? Well, if you've had premarital counseling, you've been given a foundation from which to build. All right. What is it about the foundation from which you've been given to build that isn't working? The things that you learn about yourselves, the things that you discovered, and the things that was revealed within that counseling. What is it now that has kind of that kind of moves in contradiction to that? What is it that you've lost sight of? What is it that we needs to be renewed? At least you've got something to work with. You know, you've got something to work with. You know, Yvonne and I do this exercise with couples, and it's an idea of what builds love and what kills love. So the idea of what kills love is I create a graphic, and you have to say what kills love. So instead of saying, well, Yvonne, this is what you do that kills love for me, and then you write it in the center, you have to actually say, Yvonne, this is what I feel I do that kills love for you.
Wow.
You have to own you. Don't own them. Don't don't talk about them. Own you. You know, and so that the two of you are actually honestly reflective about that. Now, we've had some couples that don't want to do that. And our thing is like, all right, this counselor, we ain't for you. Like, we ain't for you. Yeah. This only works at the space of honesty. And if you don't want to be honest, like, all right, you know, the dinner was good, thanks, but we ain't for you. Yeah, we ain't for you. We ain't for you. You know, we ain't for you. And you can't be helped right now. You can't be helped because you just don't want to sit in a space of honesty. If you're willing to sit in a space of honesty, you can be helped. But if you ain't willing to sit in a space of honesty, counseling ain't for you. it ain't for you. So
yeah, it's tight, man. I mean, to be honest, I'm just looking at the example, and obviously there's not the information that's been given. I'm gonna say something. I don't think it's that mad. I really don't. I'm looking at it, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'll tell you why. Okay. The focus is about gifts on anniversary, not gifts throughout the whole of the entire relationship. The focus that is really paining her is about gifts on anniversary. That means that your whole relationship is not trash. It's just the anniversary. I'm going by information she's given, by the way. She might have more. But from what she's given us, the only beef is the anniversary. So because he's not doing that, he's not been doing that. Look, when you started, he hasn't been doing it. You're now 12 years in. He's still not doing it. He's consistent. He's not inconsistent. He's consistent. He's not done it from day one. He's not doing it now. Right? So this beef about this anniversary, listen, I don't think he's going to... He sounds like a man that's set in his ways. Yeah. He's not changing. Yeah. But I think there may be a deeper issue, which we may not be able to get to unless you get counseling, which is the question is, what does he fear by doing gifts on an anniversary? Right? What is he fearing behind that? Right? Because it's not... the only problem she's mentioned is this anniversary. And partly as well, she kind of didn't make it very, very clear about escalating problems. But the way she's written it, it sounds as if it's a bit convoluted. It's a bit confusing when she's written it in the middle, apart from... That's the only kind of real issue kind of thing, right? So it's like for me, it's like he may never change this issue. Are you gonna quit just because of anniversary? Just by what I'm hearing.
But this is the thing though, Kojo, and I think Maria S made the point here. What does it actually say about his thought about his marriage that he's never given his wife an anniversary gift?
It alludes to.
That's the great question for me. The question for me wouldn't be like, well, why don't you give your life an anniversary gift? It's like 5-6 years in. I'm like, what is it that you think about your marriage? What does your marriage mean to you that Every
Yeah.
year,
No,
you
you
don't
wouldn't.
bother. You don't buy a gift.
It speaks for the whole year.
But
What
is
is
he doing
it?
anything else
What
wrong?
do you
No,
think?
but
Absolutely.
Kojo, he's saying what she said is that
Yeah.
she recognizes that she got into the relationship too quickly. So
Yeah.
this is not just about the gift giving. That's just an example. And maybe she's just giving an example of a much bigger thing. So here's the thing, which is really, really interesting. When somebody's giving you an example of one little thing, it's usually connected to something much
Of course.
bigger.
I agree.
And the clues are already there. She talks about not being able to express and talk about things, you know what I mean? If things are a touchy subject. And then at the end, she's saying, actually, on reflection, I think I got into the relationship too quickly. So clearly, this is just forget the gifts and all of that. That's not the issue. That's just a smoke screen. Do you know what I mean? There's a far deeper issue going on there, because she wouldn't have written you. She wouldn't have said it, because we can deal with, not getting an anniversary present or whatever. You cuss and you
We
make
can't,
noise,
because she
you
can't
kiss your
deal with it
teeth,
now.
and you squeeze up your face. Well, but again, you know what I mean? Let's okay, we haven't been given the full context of the situation, but we can read between lines, and I'm not putting any words into her mouth, but all I'm doing is I'm looking at some of the clues and some of the things that she has said that then leads us to think there's something far bigger going on here. This is not just about the gifts. Do you know what I mean? This is about her feeling, actually, I don't feel that he sees me. Do you get what I'm saying? That's
Agree
what
that.
it's saying. So that's why I'm thinking, I guess, we can be polarized and just think of, oh, come on, it's just about the gift. No. The clues are there. It's already written. You know what I mean?
You remember, the gift is about the person as well.
I agree.
I remember in our first 10 years of marriage, and my wife was just like, Yvonne, she's like, oh, thank you, baby. But I know there's a side of her that was just like, oh, Lord have mercy. Do you want me to do the same thing? Because I'm just going to buy you a gift. In the first 10 years of our marriage, I went through the list. Oh, what do you give? Oh, in year 1, you give this. In year 2, you give paper. In year 3, you give clay. In year, you know what I mean? In year 5, you give tin or whatever it is. Because I just like, for me. And there was a side of me that wanted her to do the same thing. And she was like, no, babe, you're built that way. I'm going to buy you the gift I want to buy you. You know what I mean? And I'm going to love the gift that you buy because you're doing this, in the first 10 years of our marriage, And so, but for me, it was about the consistency of how I felt about the marriage and how I felt about her. For her, it was about the consistency of always remembering the day and always giving. You know what I mean? Always. So I think it's about more than just the gift. It's about, what does it say about the person? What does it say that how you feel actually about the person? Because remembering the date is about remembering the commitment to this person. It's about remembering your love for this person. It's about celebrating on this day in whichever way you do it. You know what I mean? It could be like you go to Sainsbury's and she just loves those jam donuts, and you come with them jam donuts on anniversary morning wrapped up in a whatever, and you give it. I mean, I don't know what works. How does it work for the two of you? But it's the fact that you remembered. It's literally the fact that you remembered. It's literally the fact that you remembered. I think once Ria turned about 5 years old, I started buying 2 Valentine's gifts. Yeah. I mean, I don't give her a flowers as big as their mum, obviously. You know what I mean? But no, there's 2 women in my house, and one is my Valentine, and the other one needs to understand that she's loved as well. So I would do the same. But for me, it's not so much about the day, but it's about remembering them. And I'll buy gifts all year round. You do it all year round, but it's about the way in which you think about the person. It's actually about the fact that you think about the person. And she's saying he doesn't think about me consistently, because she used that. He's just not consistent. He is not consistent in anything. So I'm left bewildered. I'm left bewildered. That's what she's saying here. And he just doesn't show that. He doesn't show that level of consistency.
I just want to add, David Adekoya is back.
My guy.
I don't really care for gifts at all. If You know, if my family don't buy me a gift, that's fine. And that was my attitude in the beginning. In the earlier years of marriage, I just didn't really care for that so much, which is really blind of me. But it wasn't really the gift. It was really meeting Juanita where she was. And so the gift wasn't really something to feed her ego, but rather just maintaining a very important connection. I learned the hard way. I put my hands up to it. I stand here as a guilty man, but a guilty man in the past. Where I am now, it's funny because I bought her. I'm going to expose this now. I bought her app store, iOS app store voucher. I thought, yeah, let me do that shopping. Let me buy the card. But she said, I can't. There's nothing I want to buy. So she just was like, okay, I'm just going to give it to someone else. I was like, what the heck? So there was a knife in my heart. I was bleeding heavily for that. But it's like there are other things that I do because she has more than one love language. There are things that I do that kind of make up for, and I do that because I care. But I learned the hard way. And it's not that I never cared in the beginning. It's just that I had a lot of problems expressing that. So what she said was, well, you know what? I'm going to give this card away and I'm going to get another one from someone else. My job is done in that respect. She knows I care. And I have to meet her love language, but I do want to encourage people to not depend on love languages.
Yeah.
Love languages are an indication of how
Just
other people think.
Yeah.
But if your love language is not being met, please don't judge the other person for any form of negligence. They're on their journey. Your job is to serve them. And if and I'm going back to that previous point, if we are serving each other as a priority, that changes the nature of the relationship. It has to be other-centeredness. I learned this from Jermaine Wong, who we'll have on one day. It has to be about the other person. And so, this marriage is by in no means over. We have hope. We have hope. And I think, go carry on, bro. Go on, bro.
Say, by the way, I'm by the way, when I was saying about the gifts, I don't mean it to shallow say like, oh, don't worry about the gifts. I'm looking at what I'm reading, and I'm trying not to read too much into it because there's stuff that she's even missing. For instance, she says, he said, I do stuff for you all year round, which is acts of service, which means he's not trash. He's doing something. So there's another conversation around this about, are you also missing something here? Because you haven't said anything about what you've done. You've said about gifts, but you haven't said about his love language, and you intentionally miss it. So that's why I was saying that because I have a tendency to go, I sided the person straight away. And I was like, wait, hold on. When I actually read the information, there's a lot that's going on here. Yeah, I think he could do better in gifts. And that's another conversation. And as well as the same time she's looking at him as a problem, I'm going, baby girl, every time you do an anniversary, you buy him a gift. That's your love language. Have you spoken his? You know his is words of affirmation, acts of service, but you haven't said anything about, I try to make sure I do his. You haven't said anything about that. But
and he's aware. And he said, I do. What about all the stuff I do for you all year round? He's acting out of his love language. He said, well, what about all the stuff? That's the way he loves.
There's a meeting that needs to happen between these two. That needs to happen so that we can both see that what you're saying, I see you, but what you're saying, I see you. Because right now she's seen him as a problem. I'm like, nah, both of you are a problem. You're not speaking his love language, and he's not speaking yours. That's why they want to. That's why they want to jump like straight.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the two of them need to hurry up and sit down with Kelly.
Hey, Kelly, Kelly, let me send you your details, bruv. Let me send you your details, Kelly.
It's real.
Sit down with Kelly.
It's so
Kelly
true.
Just like, all right, the both of you you're all right. You're in a good place, but you just need to turn around now. All right, now you see each other. All right, good.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And you know something? People have a really warped idea of what love really is.
Come on.
Do you know what I mean? What is love? Love is about, it's not jealous, it's not selfish, it's not Do you know what I mean? It's not about self. It's about giving. It's always about giving, you know. And we have to be very, very discerning and very wise about how we display and how we do. You know, are we doing it from a place of abundance? Yeah. Are we giving from a place of abundance, or are we giving from a place of lack where we're looking for somebody to, you know, give back to us because we need them to refill our empty, you know, our empty cup? Do you know what I mean? So, you know, this is where we've got to kind of really try and, you know, break this thing down, you know, properly, you know, to kind of understand, you know, what is it? What does love look like for you? What does it look like for the other person? Because this is the thing. People, you know, think, you know, they go into marriage thinking, you know, it's this wonderful feeling of walking in daisy fields and everybody is happy all the time. And it's not, because love, you know, takes you to some real hard places, you know, where you get to see, you know, the dark sides of each other. And, you know, love is a choice. You have to make an intentional choice. You know, you're moving mad today, but I'm still going to choose to love you. Certain time I have to squeeze up my face after you, you know, but that's okay, because I still love you, but we're going to work through this, you know. And you know, it isn't easy, you know. It's not an easy thing, but one of the pearls and the beauty of working with couples is watching them go through the eye of the storm, but then coming out on the other side and looking back and thinking, wow, we actually, you know, we've learned so much tools, we've learned this, we've learned that about each other. You know, it's a beautiful thing. But again, both people have to be willing to do that, because it isn't easy. But I always say that the dividends, you know, far outweigh the storm that you're actually going through. Because trust me, the other side is beautiful. And I've seen many people go through it. You know what I mean? You know, and I wish that, you know, more people would trust the process, you know?
Wow.
I think the reason why they don't realize that it's not easy, Kelly, is because love is other-centered and humans are self-centered. Love is always going to take you outside of yourself. It's gonna take you further than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, charge you more than you have, ask you to jump higher than you've jumped, dig deeper than. That's always going to take you out of yourself. And we don't know how to do that. We don't have that. We haven't learned we haven't learned how to do that. We don't have that. We don't have that emotional intelligence. We haven't learned that emotional intelligence. But I think when we have spaces like this, that is the challenge. You know what I mean? That is the challenge for us. If we're willing to actually see what love is and trust that we can engage it and not be afraid when it pulls us outside of ourselves, then you're going to be all right. You know, but the other person has to be willing to do that. You know what I mean? Because you're always going to have to choose to love that person. You can be forced to hate someone, but you can never be forced to love someone, because it's the most intentional giving of yourself that you do as a human being. It's the most intentional giving away of yourself. That's why you can never be forced to love someone. You know what I mean? And so if we can learn that, you know what I mean, emotional equity, you know, emotional literacy. If we can learn that emotional literacy, then, you know, and trust that the other person wants to learn that emotional literacy, I feel like you're going to be okay. You're going to have what it takes for those, like Kelly said, those dark times, but then come through because you're both willing to make the journey. But it's other-centered. That's why it's so hard. It's other-centered.
Love that. Thank you very much, Eddie. We appreciate those true sentiments and words. Audience, listen, it's been one of those crazy episodes. And you know what? It's been good because we didn't all agree today. That's fantastic, isn't it? Right? Some of you are retiring your husbands, and some of you are not. Now, listen, I want to appreciate the audience members. That's going to be a running theme, I can tell now.
Big up all the retirement crew.
Hey, ladies, retire your husbands out here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be retired, but I hear what you're saying. Make money, baby. But audience members, thank you so much for joining us for this deep conversation. Listen, look, if you've got dilemmas, please send them in. We will discuss them. We're happy to do that. But I really appreciate your time and the good remarks that you guys have been adding. You've added different thoughts, different opinions, and we love that interaction. It helps with the conversation as well. My panelists, Eddie, Inner Transitions, This is Marriage UK. Thank you so much for again giving us your time. I know you guys have got stuff to do, and I've dragged you out onto YouTube, dragged you onto a platform where I won't be retired. But Kelly, where can they find you? Because obviously, we know.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram. I'm still a newbie out here. Trying to get with this technology, but you can find me on Instagram on Inner Transitions. You can DM me, you can email me. I think the DMs can link to my emails, but yeah, you can always DM me, and just ask some, ask about my services or just ask for just some recommendations, whatever, you know what I mean? You can always hit me up and I'll always answer back.
Lovely. This is Marriage UK, where can they find you?
Yeah, man. Simply, you can find us on YouTube and Instagram. TikTok, we're just dipping our toe. I think that's it, Yeah.
Eddie Hippolyte, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on Insta. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on. I've just actually come onto TikTok, but you can find me on Facebook and and you can find me on Twitter. And I'm just Eddie Hippolyte everywhere. I've figured that's just the easiest person to be.
No worries at
all.
No
rather than have a million names. So yeah, you could just find me as Eddie Hippolyte across any of those socials.
Love that, Eddie. Well, audience, thank you so much for spending the amount of time with us. Listen, for those of you who are out there, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. If you want to retire your husbands, please go ahead.
Yeah.
If you want to retire your wives, if you want to retire your wives, go ahead. You understand? Retire each other, okay? Make most of all, love each other as Christ loved us. All right. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded, and we'll see you again for another enticing